Welcome, everybody.
Your
I
show will go
am.
live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Woohoo! We are live in
Blog
Blog
Talk
Talk
Radio.
Radio. Woohoo! So, since we're live in Blog Talk Radio, I'm going to welcome our global family. And behind me, the sun is coming up in my hometown. So, welcome, everybody. Let's get started.
Blog Talk Radio. Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, Executive Producer of the Female Solution Radio Show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, bonjour. In Spain, hola. In Italy, ciao. In Egypt, ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, akwaba. In Nigeria, peleo. In South Africa, sawubona. In Senegal, nangadef. In Kenya, jambo. In Israel, shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network called 7.
welcome, everybody. As you can see, my background has changed a little bit. My dad's not back there, but you're looking at the sunrise in Chicago over Lake Michigan. You can see it. I missed the sunrise this morning. I don't know how that happened. Usually it's supposed to come up at 7, around 7ish. And here we are. The sun is already in the clouds because it's raining here. And I'm in my my neighborhood that I grew up in, High Park. This neighborhood has changed so much. I don't know if you can see all the high rises. Let me turn the high rises around. No, you can't. There's high rises everywhere. And that was not always here in High Park, where I grew up. There used to be a YMCA right across the street over here, where I spent a major part of my childhood there, swimming and gymnastics, roller skating, you name it. So I'm really excited to be back in Chicago. And surprise, I don't know if Naima knew I was here, but I'm here to help her celebrate her mom's homegoing at 101. So welcome everybody to Chicago, and here we are. And so we're still going to do our joint rolling, and our topic today, Billy Carson. I'm a regular viewer, follower of Billy Carson because he's an author and a great teacher about esoteric and spiritual things and just history and all sorts of things. And he and his wife put out a very transparent video about his recent experience with death, basically. And as I watched it, I was like, wow, okay, I'm learning this, I'm learning that. I was just lessons galore on this video. And I said, I got to share this with my audience because there are so many lessons in this that can help you prevent the hospital visit that Billy Carson and his wife ended up in, because she slept, the faithful, dedicated woman that she is, she slept in that hospital room every minute that he was in there. And that's what you have to do these days. You have to be an advocate for your partner, child, whatever, in the hospital. You don't leave the hospital because they could leave there in a body bag these days. So I'm going to share that video with you. Very transparent. Someone was texting me, are you interviewing Billy? I don't have to. He's put it out on YouTube. He put everything out on YouTube. And I'm going to share that with you. Then I'm going to share with you my perspective on how to prevent that. And I'm looking at more than 35 years of experience in speaking to clients like that who went through those type of experiences and who had to go on a healing journey like many of us. So anyway, I know why you're here this early in the morning. It's 7 a.m. in the morning in Chicago, High Park neighborhood. And I'm in this, could I say, a 4-star leaning on a 5-star hotel. My friend put me up in this hotel because she moved in, let's see, where's her building is back there. One of the new high-rise buildings back there my friend moved into. And she's still putting that fabulous place together. And her guest room's just not quite ready. So she put me up in this amazing hotel. We had dinner here. We laughed for hours, and I'm just very grateful to be here at this season at this time. So let's do some joint rolling, starting with some deep breathing. That's the key to our title today, how Billy Carson ended up in a hospital close to death. Breathe in, out. When we breathe in, we can breathe in, hold it for a count of 4. Exhale, hold it at the bottom for a count of 4. This gives your brain and your body a message that you are in love mode. You are in love mode. You are bringing to this body love, oxygen, more oxygen, not just the shallow normal breathing that everyone does who's walking on this planet. You've got to be breathing at some level. But we want to encourage you to do more deep breathing, inhaling, counting to 4, exhaling, counting to 4, holding it. That rhythm, that pattern puts you in worship mode to this temple, this sacred temple that functions like a computer. We are living, our soul is visiting this computer, biological computer called a body. Head, brain, and it functions on oxygen. It functions on love. In fact, I would say it heals on love. That's what Billy Carson's going through even now. He's healing from a crisis, a health crisis adventure that he and his wife went on. To hear the video is over an hour. I'm not going to play the full hour, but I want to play enough of it for you to get the understanding of what these two people went through with this health crisis. And then I'm going to do what I usually do, play a few educational videos on what is pneumonia and what I think is the primary gland that was affecting his body and what caused him to shut down in a hospital. And I don't want you to go through that. That's why I'm doing this show today, to help you avoid, prevent what this man has shared with us. He's given us enough information that we can prevent this type of experience. All right, so let's do some joint rolling. I know that's why you're here. We're here not only to roll these joints, but to activate the galactic tones. We have 13 joints in our body. We're activating the galactic tone. So when we do joint rolling, we're actually telepathically, spiritually, metaphysically connecting to the galaxy. That's how we were created. From a microcosmic perspective, the Creator put in us tones for every joint in our body to help us communicate, keep the communication lines going, for one, to give us the amazing experience that we are having here on Earth. So as you roll your joints, I just want you to think about, number one, why are we doing this? Improve our circulation, boost our immune system, because rolling joints, especially when you hit these areas and tapping where there are lymphatic glands that we need to be drained, and those glands are drained by movement. If you sit down like this with a remote control in your hand and you don't move for 12 hours, you're going to be sick, because your body is not going to be stimulated, motivated to keep you well. So that's why we're rolling joints, circulation improvement, immune system improvement, lymphatic system improvement, and muscle strengthening. Yes, I hadn't included this in my introduction, but I'm always studying, always reading, always growing, because that's how I evolve new information and share with you. But when you're rolling your joints, you're actually strengthening the muscles around these joints to help you keep moving, no arthritis and all that, because there are muscles around every joint that help you move and help you sit up straight, move, and do. So let's get busy. I know you're ready to go because you're here. If you're here, you want to roll. And let's put on some time for healing music. No matter where you are, if you're in a wheelchair, you can move some joints. So let's do some time for healing by the Sounds of Blackness. I do not own the rights to this music. I've been playing it for about 3 years now, and I still get we're not going to play this in certain areas because it's a right copyright, blah, blah, blah. This music is not owned by me, but I did send them an email asking permission, and they gave me permission. So let's do it. Time for Healing by the Sounds of Blackness. Don't own the rights to it, but we use it because it's so relevant and so inspiring and motivating. So let's get busy. Time for Healing. All right, here we go. Let's start with this big neck muscle, chin to chest. Let's just stretch our neck muscles. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Rolling, rolling. And breathe. Inhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now let's go the other direction. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. We just roll this head around and feel the toning going on. Feel the strengthening going on. Woo, and breathe. So be sure and breathe as we go. Inhale and exhale. As the French would say, inspire and expire. Inspired. Be inspired. In fact, your body is inspired every time you inhale, inspire, and expire. Get rid of all the toxins, bad breath. Get it out. So then let's just move to the shoulders. Roll around the shoulders. Open up your heart. Let the healing flow. All right, roll those shoulders. Sometimes I think this music is a little too loud, so I'm gonna just turn it down a little bit more. Hope you can hear me okay. Oops, wrong one. Put that a little lower. Hope you can hear me. All right, so let's continue. Rolling the shoulders forward now. Rolling, toning up. Galactic toning, mirror toning, all that good stuff. Toning. And while we're here, let's just roll the elbows. Roll the lower arms, move the lower arms, and roll the elbows around. Roll the elbow joint. Get the stimulation to the elbow joints. And let's just swim in the sea of energy. This hotel has the most beautiful artwork I've ever seen. You'll see this art behind or on the side here as I move over to my studio. But the artwork is all local students from the University of Chicago and people who live in this neighborhood. It's all over the hotel. And then let's backstroke. There's a piece of art downstairs by the elevator. It's called Obama and Lincoln. And the whole art is made up of pennies, Lincoln pennies, so that a figure of Obama shows up. Who did that? The creative energy in this area of Chicago, Hyde Park University, is just off the chain. All right, so we're ready with the loosened up the top. Let's get on our back and kick up the legs and roll the wrists and the ankles. Breathe in. Breathe in and out. And let's reverse that. Rolling. And I don't know what happened to my music. It's still there, but you can't hear it. All right, rolling. So let's rub our hands together Massage those knees, I really believe if you roll these knees around more, your lower legs around more, your knees will be strengthened, because again, you're strengthening the muscles. And too many people don't do this. They don't move or roll their legs around to strengthen the knees. So take your time, don't rush. Do this in the bed. Like I'm in the bed. I'm setting an example here. I'm in this beautiful king size bed, which I don't get every day at home. And I'm rolling around my lower legs so you can get a visual of strengthening the knees, okay? So let's roll over, and there you can see now the sun is already up, but it's cloudy today. It's so cloudy. It's raining in Chicago. So let's get these legs, the hips stimulated, rolling the whole leg around if you can, rolling, stimulating the hips. You might avoid some hip surgeries by doing this now, not later. And let's reverse that. And I think my music ended, but that's okay. We're still rolling. And that feels so much better. All right, let's flip over to the other side. We want to make sure we're balanced, and let's get rolling the other leg around. I'm looking at this amazing. The colors in this art are what has really got my attention. Some of the colors are my favorite color: turquoise, purple. They're just beautiful. And let's reverse that. And I don't know what happened to my music, but let's keep going, keep rolling. It's time for healing, still time for healing, even though the music has stopped. Reversing that. Now, again, if you cannot do this, if you're unable to roll that whole leg around, you want to start your morning by bending, first of all, to get your knees stimulated, just bending and straightening, flexing your feet. If you can't do your ankles, just point your toes, flex, point your toes, flex, and bend the knees and straighten the knees. The legs, not the knees. You're bending the knees and straightening the leg. And that's an alternative way to get the joints. If you can't do all this, just bend and straighten. Bend and straighten and flex and point. Flex and point. So the same thing with the hips. If you're not able to rotate the whole leg, when you wake up, just lift that. Wake up, give thanks, and then just start lifting each leg one at a time to get your morning started. These are fly movements. First, love yourself. You don't want to take care of anybody else first thing in the morning except you, unless you've got a baby or an infant in the house who's crying and who needs milk from you. We lay in the bed and we lift each leg to get the blood flowing in the hip area and get the whole body waking up to a new day. Don't you just love that background? This is the skyline of Hyde Park, Chicago, right here. You got it. The lake is out there. Best part of Chicago is the lake, in my opinion. So the lake is out there. The sun just came up, but it's cloudy, so you're not going to see. I thought you would get some sun this morning, but the clouds are there, so maybe tomorrow I'll get a good sunrise. I haven't had a good sunrise yet, but here. All right. So our music has ended, I believe. So let's bring your knees to your chest. Breathe in, and exhale. Rock side to side. Rock side to side, and rock to one side, push up. And here we are, finishing up. Let's rub our hands together, And finish off with some vagus nerve stimulation. That vagus nerve is so important. If you ever go on YouTube and just type in vagus nerve, you'll get hundreds of video teachings about how to keep your vagus nerve healthy. So let's put our hands back here. Squeeze, breathe in and release. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. And then we go into tapping, love motions, love movements, because tapping your body wakes up your cells, get your energy going. This area right here, another lymph gland, it's an important place to have a pit, not a poof. If you have a poof here where it's swollen, got to work on it. Do some tapping, drink more healthy fluids, teas, water. Same thing over here. Tap, tap, tap down the arm. Remember to stop here. And then right in here above the collarbone, some very important lymph glands and lymph system work should be done. Just massage right above the collarbone. Pat it down a little. Massage above the collarbone. Tap it. And then go into the chest area. This is your thymus gland. Very important in this area for your immune system. Always give your breast, men and women, give your breast a little gentle love, gentle movement. And then you want to go down to belly button, give a little massage to your belly button. Breathe in and out, breathe in and out. Get those microbiome health. We're going to talk about that a little bit today regarding Billy Carson. So here, get that energy going, get that energy going. And back here, again, this is going to be our topic today about the adrenal glands. What happened? What happens when you ignore these adrenal glands? They're right, kidneys here, adrenal glands. So let's end our love time, our love massage with hands here. Breathe into that area. I love you, adrenal glands. Thank you, kidneys, for all the work you do. All right. So how is everyone feeling? How are we feeling? We're going to go to a break while I move to my studio over there. And when we come back, we're going to get right into Billy Carson's very transparent interview video with his wife on how he ended up in a hospital near death. And I won't play the whole thing because it's a whole hour long, but I will share parts that are important for us to learn from and grow from to prevent what happened to him.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV show invites you to an invigorating, empowering, interactive conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Gathering of the Griots with Asada. Wednesdays, Repairing Family Relationships with Naima and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Veggie Brunch Live with Angela. Fridays, Health and Well-Being with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Global Talks with Zana. Second Saturday, Walk in Your Divine Authority with Mama Joy. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. Fourth Saturday, be a judge on the virtual Teens, Tweens, and Tots Talent Contest. And fifth Saturday, join us on location as we conversate at the Elevate Cafe, owner Jackie Brooks. Sundays, join us 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Go to thefemalesolution.com to join us on our video or audio live streaming platforms. Listen at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in on the Blog Talk Radio Network 515-605-9325 or call in and comment on the On-Air Radio Network 727-731-5192. We want to hear from you.
yes. We want to hear from you. And I'm seeing these lights behind me, which I'm going to turn off because I don't need those anymore. Okay. But I want you to just see this beautiful art behind me. Oh my goodness. And this is all over this hotel. Art like this is just, in fact, I'm going to just switch it over to that section there. There's art on the wall there, and it's all, from what I was told, it's all local artists. So I'm just blessed beyond measure to be in this space away from home in Chicago, my hometown. Joy, mixed emotions about being here in my hometown, but I'm here for a good reason to share love with my Blog Talk Radio family as we celebrate the life of Naima Latif's mom. So let's get into the show because I'm going to have to do things to get ready after the show. And Billy Carson, who is Billy Carson? He is an author. He's a teacher. He's mostly on YouTube. He has Forbidden Knowledge TV show on YouTube. And what is interesting, he travels all over the world, Turkey, Egypt. He takes groups of people, he invites groups of people to join him to study artifacts and historical places all over the world. So that's why it's very popular on YouTube and so forth. So I'm going to share with you now this video that he and his wife made when death stares you in the face. And it was just so, I think it was Mama AZ actually who shared it initially. I saw it and I thought, oh, I got to watch that. What was that about? I thought it was something that had happened in the past with him, but it turns out this was fairly recent. So I want us to just pay attention to their description of what was going on. And I'll probably skip forward a little because they go into so much detail. And I'm going to break it all down for you, how you can prevent what happened and what were the key elements as far as his body, adrenal glands, and what is pneumonia. We're going to get into all of those details because he doesn't get into that, which I think you should know to recognize when your own body is speaking to you. And basically what happens in his situation like his, he ignores the body signs because he's such a man of integrity. That's what I admire. What comes out of this, he's a man of integrity. He said he was going to do something. I have to do it, even though my body is shutting down and my body is saying, no, I don't think you should do that. No, I got to do it. I said people with high integrity. My ex-husband was like that. I'm dating a man who's like that. I love men who have integrity. What they say, they do what they say they're going to do. They follow through, but sometimes they harm themselves because they don't let their body overrule what they just said. Okay. So let's look at Billy Carson and his wife sharing this story. You got it. In my opinion, you admire people like this who are being so transparent because in that moment, we are students and they are teachers. When they share something so profound, so emotional, so life-changing, all you can do is be a student. I'm not teaching when I'm listening to somebody like I'm like, wow. And then as a student, we can turn around and teach others how to prevent that type of thing. So let's bring When Death Stared Billy Carson. And this video is for educational purposes only. I'm not trying to make money off this video. We're here to learn and be educated and grow. So YouTube, Facebook, pay attention. No, this is fair use. He put it out there for people to learn and grow from. No intention to steal from him. Fair use, no copyright infringement. We're using it fair use for educational purposes only. So this is kind of an introduction to his YouTube channel, Forbidden Knowledge, which has over 1 million subscribers. That just shows you how popular he is. So let's do this now.
Forbidden Knowledge. Hey, all right.
Hey, we're here.
We are here and alive.
Alive, yes.
Excuse me, I'll be clearing my throat a little bit from time to time tonight. I'm just getting over an extremely, extremely severe case of pneumonia, which we're going to talk about tonight and talk about the whole process, what happened, how it happened, or how we think it happened at least, and how we were able to get through it. It was a real tough time. So I want to thank everyone, for coming on tonight. And as you can see, sometimes my voice is going to want to cough because of the recovery that I'm going through right now. But thanks for all the love and all the great wishes and all the content. And thank you to my beautiful wife, Elizabeth.
And he's not a clone. He's not a clone, guys.
Yeah,
don't worry.
I lost a lot of weight. This shirt used to be skin tight on me. I lost 22 pounds. So we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about the whole ordeal and what happened and my near-death experience that I had. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting talk.
Man,
Yeah.
it's been a rough, 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, it's been rough, guys. If you haven't noticed, we haven't really popped on here too much because we were dealing with Billy's health.
Yeah.
So Billy's never been sick in life until 3 weeks ago.
My first time really getting sick. I mean, I've had some colds. I had 9 colds, over the course of my 53 years on this planet, but
never prescribed antibiotics.
Never.
Never prescribed, never really went to the doctor for an illness before.
No.
Yeah.
Never had a cast.
Mm-hmm.
No
surgeries.
Never had surgeries. So this was it threw me for a loop. Just to start the story off, before we went to Turkey, I had been traveling extensively. What was that route we did in a week? We hit 5 or 6 states.
So for 2 weeks straight, right before we went to Turkey. Well, okay, let's start with the Conscious Awards. So we had the Conscious Awards, and that was an entire weekend.
Yeah.
And we put it on with us plus a team of 3 people. So
it was a lot.
So it was a lot, and it was incredibly amazing and phenomenal and successful.
Okay. So let me pause there. I'm going to speed it up a little because, as I said, they go into so much detail that you can only be a student in this hour and 13-minute video. Okay, how many couples even are this transparent about these type of things? So again, he starts off talking about he was doing a lot of traveling, extensive traveling. Right there is a red flag, people. You're up on a plane, up and down, up and down. I was on a plane just one flight. I don't like to do stops and more and then get off and go to another plane. I try my best to do non-stop travel wherever I go. So he's talking Turkey, okay? LA. He lives in Florida. So he's talking Turkey, LA, travel. So we're leading up to serious pneumonia because he's so dedicated to keeping his word. And we're going to just speed it up a little bit so you don't have to hear all the little details. All right, here we go.
7. I was like, if it gets to 103, we're going to the hospital. I don't care what you say. I don't care if we're out of the country.
Go to the hospital in Turkey.
We're going to a hospital if it goes above 103.
They didn't speak any English over there.
No, it was really crazy. So what we did,
these people are going to put me on a respirator or something and kill me.
Yes. Well,
I didn't want to go there. I was afraid to get killed in the hospital. I was I ain't going to the hospital. I'd rather struggle with this until I can get back to America.
Okay, so you're hearing there a fear. That's a low frequency emotion that can weaken your immune system. He was afraid of going to a hospital in a foreign country. Can't say I blame him. But again, when you're already stressed from traveling, all this travel, like she said, 3 weeks of travel, extensive traveling, not loving your body, not listening to your body. all the red flags. These are great teachers here. Elizabeth and Billy are great teachers.
Okay.
Oh, I was like, look, if you're because once you go over 103, your brain goes into damage mode and you start seizing. That's when you like lose, your brain is damaged
Oh,
at
I
that
know.
point.
The next day, when you went to the bathroom morning, I tested my temperature was 104.
Yeah, I'm glad he ain't telling
And
me
I was
that.
like, I can't tell her it's 104 because she'll make me go to this hospital. And these people are gonna kill me.
Mhm.
So
All right. So here he's talking about fear of hospital. They're going to kill me. They're going to kill me. Fear. What is your body responding to that type of mental activity, language? Fear. They might kill me. Your body is going into flight and fight mode. It's not going into fly. I can do this. No, your body is saying, I'm weak, I'm tired, I need to rest. And you're saying, oh, I got to keep going. And then here he is talking about the fear of going in the hospital and being killed. So the body is responding to all of not just his activity of flying around the world, extensive travel. He's already been doing stuff in LA and doing all this. And now he's talking about feeling like he needs to rest, but he can't rest. And he's afraid, drop the frequency in his body has dropped to near zero.
I didn't want to go to the hospital in Turkey.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell her it was 104 that day.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he didn't because he would have been in the hospital in Turkey. So.
Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm going to stop this in a minute and we're going to go into the other educational video. But you have 104 temperature and you're like, I just got to keep going. No. You have to stop to save yourself. 104 is serious business. You should be in a tub of water, lukewarm water. You don't go in there with ice. Well, maybe for him it would. No, you get in a tub of lukewarm water because that'll give your body the energy to heat up and do whatever and to get rid of the bacteria that was growing in his lungs. You'll find out near the end as he talks about. He had one of his lungs was totally dark from all the bacteria and viruses. So I'm going to play a little bit more of this, and then you'll get the picture of why he ended up near death from this.
Well, she packed me with ice cold towels.
Well, when his temperature was going to 102.7, I was like, oh, this is bad. I was like, so ice cold towels, head, armpits, and feet, and he hated me. I was like ripping off the blankets from him. I was like, look, you gotta just deal with this. Yeah. I was like, you don't want to go to the hospital, what do you? I was like, you don't want to go to the hospital, do you? Like, okay. So we wrapped him and that brought his temperature down. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. But I guess the next morning it did go up. And
it spiked back up again the next morning. I kept waking up in these really crazy the supplements.
I yelled at you a whole bunch. He had so many attitudes with me, guys, on this trip. He was so angry with me all the way through. I was like, you better take this cold rag on your armpits. I was like, eat the bread. I was like, do it.
It was of shutting down.
Yes, at 40.
Points away from death.
30. You were at 30.
Yeah.
So and even the doctor came in and he's like, well, glad you're here because you're borderline septic right now.
I know.
So that's what was happening.
Yeah. And my body, my consciousness or whatever you want to call it, it knew it because when I would I was in so much agony and pain in that hospital bed. But when I would close my eyes, instantly I was in another place. I was in a place where there was peace, tranquility. I was able to see things and explore. I was able to see faces of different hominids over different time periods and different types of trees from the Cambrian era and all these other different eras going back millions of years. It was so crazy. It was like an explorer's dream. And I opened my eyes and I would be back into pain in the body again. And I would close my eyes and I'd be back in this other place instantly with no pain, breathing fine, everything seemed phenomenal. And I said, is this real? So I think I was having almost like a near-death experience, an NDE or something similar to that, where I would close my eyes and I was literally gone from the agony and the pain. And then it got to a point where I was doing it so much and they said, well, And I can only say they because it's hard to convey the exact way the communication
Not
happens.
vocal, right? It
It's
wasn't
not
words.
vocal.
It's like a knowing
It's like a
inside of you.
knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
right?
when you know you're on the other side, because I've had those
Yeah.
before. It's a knowing. When my dad visited me, who passed away, he came and he floated to me. He
Yeah.
put his hand on my shoulder, and I
Mm.
understood immediately.
Mm.
There was no movement of no lips. I didn't
Yeah.
hear any words, but I understood.
Just a knowing.
Yeah.
And they were like, you can stay here. You can stay here, or you can go back. But if you go back, it's going to be hard. And I remember I said to myself, I'm going back to my wife.
All right, so I'm gonna stop it there. I think you get the picture, and I'll say at the end of that video you just heard, she was in tears, because just describing that emotional journey of being in a foreign country with your husband extremely sick, and he's pressing on and he's doing this, and then they fly back, 13-hour flight back to the United States with that same body situation of fever and temperature. And I had a similar situation. I went to China with my former husband, and we all, at the end of the 8-day tour, everybody had flu symptoms because we were eating local food. I think that was it, and the water and all that. And everybody had flu symptoms. We were in Shanghai. I was looking for a carrot juice, anything, Pepsi. Couldn't find any of that in Shanghai. So we had to go home on a 10-hour flight with all those symptoms, and all we could do was sleep. So it was a miserable time when we left China, but we enjoyed it while we were there. Anyway, so what Billy went through was extreme stress on the body. Traveling, fever, all of that was telling him, slow down, rest, get in a bath. Nope, I'm going to keep going. And as he said, he ended up in a hospital with extreme pneumonia. So I want to start here so everybody knows what the hell is pneumonia and why his body had to go through what he went through. When you're diagnosed with pneumonia, it says a lot about, to me, and with my experience, it really tells you why your body has certain symptoms and what is actually going on with the symptoms and what you need to know to fix it. So here's a little clip about pneumonia, everything you need to know. I'm not going to play. I don't think I'm going to play, but we're going to start there. So I mean, all of you, we can have a discussion on how to prevent this type of thing.
Today's topic is pneumonia. Pneumonia is an inflammatory condition affecting the air sacs in one or both lungs, most commonly due to an infection. The air sacs are called alveoli and may fill with pus or fluid, making it very difficult to breathe. Many germs can cause pneumonia, but the most common are bacteria and viruses in the air we breathe. Pneumonia affects approximately 450 million people globally, resulting in about 4 million deaths per year. Pneumonia may range in seriousness from mild to fatal. It is generally more serious when it affects older adults, infants, and young children, those who are critically ill, and those with a weakened immune function. Although it can occur at any age, pneumonia is more common in elderly people. Pneumonia can result in complications such as sepsis, lung abscess, and pleural effusion, fluid accumulation around the lungs. Types and causes. The major types of pneumonia are classified according to the
Okay, so we don't need to go in all the types and all, because I want to get into other explanations of what was going on there. So pneumonia, what's involved there? Bacteria and viruses. Let me think. Where do those lay in the body? Your microbiome. Hello, your microbiome. If you've been with me this long, you know I'm going here to microbiome wisdom. So microbiome is trillions of viruses, bacteria, and fungus. Those are the three major, and parasites are in there too. So when you think of all that gut energy, bacteria, viruses, and all that, it's all mainly in the gut. So if your gut is out of balance, you're going to have pneumonia, you're going to have cancer, you're going to have all kinds of diseases because you don't have a homeostasis, which is balance in the gut, and your body, your mind. There is a gut brain connection. Your brain is talking to your gut all the time. Do your homework. You can go back and listen to some of my videos from this show, even. But the brain is always talking to the gut. It's a gut brain connection. So, in Billy's case, I listened to that whole interview. They didn't say one thing about probiotics or the microbiome or the gut. So that was kind of I was like waiting. She used everything in her little herbal bag on that journey to keep him alive. Prednisone, aspirin, they used whatever they could to keep him going throughout the Turkey area and all the other places they were going. But there was not one word in that hour and something video about probiotics or the microbiome. So when you look at the end result of being in the hospital and you are diagnosed with extreme pneumonia, and as that video said, that's a lot of bacteria and viruses in the lungs. So what happens is the body, and I don't have my Louise Hay book with me, but I'm sure the emotional connection with pneumonia and having bacteria, the bacteria that forms there in the lungs, your mind is saying, well, I can't breathe. I can't do what I need to do. You're struggling. You're in conflict with your body because you've got this idea, I've got to do this. I promised these people I would do it. I've got to do it. And I don't want to go to the hospital. Oh, no, I don't want to go. Fear, all these emotions, fear, anxiety, stress, pressure. And the brain says, oh, you need this type of bacteria to survive this experience you're having in Turkey. That's how I look at it. You've got to have certain bacteria in your lungs to breathe, help you breathe and get through this. And that bacteria is what some people would say, well, he had bad bacteria in his lungs because it was like taking over. But then what was his mind saying? His mind wasn't saying, I'm going to go over here and just sit at the beach and relax and let my body heal. No. It was like, push, push, push. I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to do it. So what is the organ or the gland other than the brain? And the bacteria were just totally, and I don't know what he was eating, but sounds like he wasn't eating a lot of yogurt. And I don't know, his wife Elizabeth was pretty much in charge of feeding him. And I don't know what he was eating, but the main point here is his emotional state, his environment state. All of those things, as you can see, affect your health. So I looked at, I would say the main hormone that caused the weakening of his body was cortisol. And as I always, in my joint rolling, I always tell you to pay attention to your adrenal glands and your kidneys back there. Because when you're in a stressful situation like he was in, traveling, busy, pushing, and you're ignoring, telling your body to shut up and sit down while I do what I have to do. That's integrity sometimes. I have to do it. And the body is saying, but I think you should just rest. No, I have to do it. I think you should. The body is just whispering. And then the body starts screaming at you with pain. I asked you to rest. You didn't listen to me. So now we're going to get louder. You're going to have inflammation in your lungs where you can barely breathe. You can barely move because you weren't listening to your body. So the next thing we want to learn about is the adrenal glands, because this sacred temple, this awesome biological computer has what we call adrenal glands. And we need to go back to a little animation here, biology. And I tried to keep all of these less than 5 minutes so you don't get brain tired or too much information. But I'm just sharing what I saw was the main reasons this event happened with Billy and how we can prevent it. Paying attention to the sacred temples, key glands and organs that cause things like this to happen because we're not listening to our body. So this next teaching is about anatomy and physiology of the adrenal glands, which is to me one, and I'm not saying it's the major. I'm not, by the way, let me put my disclaimer. I am not a doctor. Thank you, Mama AZ. She respects my Dr. V experience. And I appreciate that title because I'm here to teach you about your body. That's all. I've been studying about the body for over 15 years. And my dad taught me. My dad's not here today, but this beautiful art's here. And I've learned so much. And I just have so much love and respect for how this body functions. So anatomy and physiology of the adrenal glands. We're just zooming in on one little area of our temple, sacred, communicating computer that Billy and his wife kind of ignored. And so we're going to bring it out today so that we can prevent.
Adrenal glands are a pair of glands sitting on top of the kidneys. Each gland consists of an outer cortex of glandular tissue and an inner medulla of nervous tissue. The adrenal cortex produces a variety of steroid hormones, all of which are based on cholesterol. The cortex has 3 layers: zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, and zona reticularis. Each layer secretes its own set of hormones. The outermost layer, zona glomerulosa, produces mineralocorticoids, so named for their role in regulating minerals, in particular sodium and potassium. These hormones primarily act on the kidneys to control fluid and electrolyte balance. The major mineralocorticoid is aldosterone. Aldosterone increases potassium excretion as well as sodium and water retention by the kidneys, thereby increasing blood volume and blood pressure. The main regulators of aldosterone are the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, which activates in response to low blood pressure and elevated potassium levels. The middle layer, zona fasciculata, produces glucocorticoids named for their role in glucose metabolism. The most important of these is cortisol, best known as the stress hormone. Cortisol helps the body stay on high alert to deal with long-term stress. Cortisol's overall effect is to increase energy supply. In the liver, it promotes catabolism of glycogen to glucose. In the muscles, it acts to reduce glucose uptake and consumption and increase degradation of muscle proteins into amino acids, which can then be used to synthesize glucose, fats, or generate energy. In adipose tissue, cortisol promotes lipid breakdown for additional energy. In the pancreas,
So that very detailed, almost too detailed explanation of the adrenal glands, anatomy, physiology of the adrenal glands, I just want you to get some respect for this awesome body temple and that one little area, what it's doing. Did you hear all the little functions? How did we come to find out all that about what the adrenal glands are doing? And my sister Zelda is on case today. Thank you, Zelda. She has her Louise Hay book there, and I didn't because I'm traveling. But here we go. Louise Hay says pneumonia, probable cause says desperate, tired of life, emotional wounds that are not allowed to heal. Is that on point or what? Let me read that again. For Billy Carson out there, the Billy Carsons out there who are desperately trying to please everybody and be a person of integrity, blah, blah, blah. Here's the emotional connection or metaphysical connection from Louise Hay's book, Heal Your Life. Pneumonia, probable cause says desperate, tired of life, emotional wounds, period, or plural, that are not allowed to heal. Now, that is exactly what was going on with Billy. he had some emotional, not just the fear, okay, emotional wound, fear of going in the hospital, you might die. Okay, that's a fear, that's an emotional wound. Because where did you get that fear from? Where your body is at 104 temperature, you're in a foreign country, and you don't want to go to the acute care place that's in a foreign country? That's an emotional wound, that's deep subconscious fear about, I can't do that, I might die. I don't know about you, but if I had that kind of fever in a form, I'd go take a chance with faith in the creator to protect me in a situation like that. That's sometimes what you have to do if you're in a foreign country and you have reluctance about going into the acute care. The United States, I criticize the sick care system all the time, but in the United States, we have, I think, the best in the world acute care / emergency treatment centers all over this country. I would not hesitate to go to an emergency room, but I'm not going to be admitted. If they say, oh, we need to admit you, no, 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 no. Give me whatever give me a diagnosis, tell me what's going on, and I'm going home or to the beach. That's my favorite. And rest and get some negative ions from the water, from the sun, from the rain, whatever. But I'm not going to be admitted in a sick care. Not me. But he missed the idea that just go to the acute care and find out why your fever is as high as it, because he didn't even talk about pneumonia. He didn't know he had pneumonia. He just knew he was sick, 104, couldn't have no energy. So here is Dr. Berg. For those of us who might be traveling in the future, Dr. Berg gives us the number one sign of high cortisol, which is, in my opinion, the number one hormone that was affecting Billy's unresolved health issue. Cortisol. Let's hear from Dr. Berg, a professional, about the number one sign that your cortisol levels, that's the hormone that primarily comes from your adrenal glands, that is trying to help you. Cortisol is in there. Let me let Dr. Berg
to know if you have high cortisol. What is cortisol? Cortisol is the main stress hormone. And if cortisol is too high, there's a lot of problems that can happen in your body. I've done a lot of videos on this. Let me go down the list to give you some ideas on what happens when your cortisol is too high. You get belly fat. You lose protein in your thigh muscles and your buttocks, okay? So you lose your butt and your thighs. What's that going to do to your knees? It's going to make your knees very painful and weak, especially when you're climbing stairs. Your blood pressure might increase, first starting with the systolic, that's the top number, and then ending up with the diastolic too. Allergies, asthma, acne, anxiety, low tolerance to stress. People start really getting on your nerves, especially slow drivers. Inflammation. Why? Because cortisol is the main anti-inflammatory. So if you don't have it, you fill up with inflammation. It could be anywhere, back pain, whatever. Blood sugar problems. You can even end up becoming a diabetic if there's too much cortisol. This is why when people get injected with prednisone, for example, where they use prednisone a lot, so sometimes they can become a diabetic. Cravings for carbs and breads, okay, that would be one way to know that you have a problem with cortisol. Decreased libido, decreased potassium, because potassium goes through you. And that's a problem because potassium is needed for so many things like energy, relaxing you, balancing fluids. It's a main electrolyte, etc., etc. You may tend to hold salts, and that's why you have edema as well. But also you will lose something that is involved with making acids, okay, and hydrochloric acid. So you end up with digestive problems because you don't have enough acid, and your blood pH can go more on the alkaline side, not the acid side that a lot of times people think, more alkaline, and that can give you a whole series of additional problems. But in addition to all of these symptoms, one of the best ways to know you have high cortisol is the time you wake up at night. Typically, it's going to be about 2 o'clock in the morning. It could be a little bit later, like 2:30 a.m., but between 2 and 2:30 a.m. in the morning, that's when you become awake, okay? Now, I had this problem for years and I didn't know what it was. It was driving me crazy. It was torture because I would get up in the middle of the night, and of course I had restless leg syndrome too, but I would just wake up and I would start to think and analyze and solve problems and worry for hours. And then when I finally went to sleep, that was around 8 o'clock. So the pattern for high cortisol is you wake up at 2 a.m. or 2:30 a.m. and then you finally can get to bed right around 8 a.m. when you're supposed to wake up, right? Why is that? Because cortisol follows a circadian wave, and cortisol normally is supposed to be the lowest at 2 a.m., okay, and the highest at 8 a.m. in the morning. So everything is kind of backwards. And so when you should be sleeping, you're most awake. When you should be awake, you're mostly asleep. And then also you might have a problem at midday, right around, let's say, 2 o'clock p.m. or 3 o'clock. Boy, you just want to take a nap. So that's the pattern of high cortisol. You can also do a saliva test. There's also a hair analysis. I don't know if they're still doing.
Okay, so you can look up Dr. Berg. He's full of information. I have one more very short video from Dr. Tracy. I love this woman because she just has a very comprehensive way. And then I'll take your calls. Press 1 in the studio if you want to comment or you have a story to share. I already have a very sad story here from Zelda. She says her Bidwist partner just passed from pneumonia. Thanks for microbiome update. Yeah, get the probiotics out. I'm telling you, when we hear all these educators talk about what causes it out, the probiotics, you got to balance your microbiome because they're going to fight for you. Your army, the trillions of bacteria and viruses that make up pneumonia, the good ones are gonna fight for you, but you gotta feed the good ones. If you're feeding the bad ones with junk food, stress, then the battle is gonna be lost in terms of how you feel. But this is Dr. Tracy. She's got a few wise words here about the stress hormone that's sabotaging your health. I love this lady. So I'm gonna let her speak for the last, let's see, where'd she go? Stress hormone sabotaging your health.
Meet cortisol, the stress hormone that can turn your body upside down. From weight gain to weakened immunity, this sneaky culprit can cause a cascade of health issues. But don't worry, you can take control. By managing stress through exercise, mindfulness, and healthy eating habits, you can keep cortisol in check and reclaim your well-being. Meet cortisol, the stress hormone that can turn your body upside down. From weight gain to weakened immunity, this sneaky culprit can cause a cascade of health issues. But don't worry, you can take control. By managing stress through exercise, mindfulness, and healthy eating habits, you can keep cortisol in check and reclaim your well-being.
Okay.
Meet cortisol.
She played twice. So there you have it. A lot of information, knowledge from professionals, experts. And I think the key word in Dr. Tracy's brief video there was mindfulness. How you keep your cortisol in check and don't exhaust it. Because people who have had Lyme disease, for instance, I have 2 people in my life who had serious Lyme disease. And what was happening as I got to know my friends, 2 women who had this Lyme disease, it wasn't so much the tick from the deer. They always blame that poor little tick and it's a bacteria. There we go again. Their stress levels were off the chain, these 2 people. And they both developed Lyme disease and were treated with antibiotics because Lyme disease has been diagnosed as a poor culprit for everything if they don't figure out why the little tick wasn't there even, but they have a diagnosis of Lyme disease. It's all about stress, mindfulness, not managing their stress is what I saw in these 2 women who were diagnosed with Lyme disease. Because I went to Virginia. Mama AZ knows about this. I went to Art Henson's location, land in Virginia, I slept in a tent house. I was in there on their patio, and there were ticks on the. I said, "What are these little creatures here?" And they said, "Oh, those are ticks." I'm like, "Ticks? Ticks? These are ticks?" And they were just real casual about it. They lived there in that land, and they're like, "Oh, those are ticks. Ticks? Really? You mean the thing that causes Lyme disease?" I'm like, "Okay." Everybody was like, "Nah, don't worry." Then I slept in a tent the last night that had been sitting out there, not used by anybody, and 3 or 4 of us slept. It was a huge tent, and we all took our sleeping bags out there and slept in there. I came home with a tent back to from Virginia to Orlando. I had a tick on my chest, and I called Kwame. I'm like, Kwame, I got a tick. I got a bite, and then I broke out in a rash in my back. And thanks to Kwame Sunhorse, my herbalist, my Native American expert, I got over it. No serious Lyme disease symptoms, blah, 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 because mindfulness involves educating yourself and making changes to your lifestyle, So when Dr. Tracy says exercise, mindfulness, diet, all of those are change elements. You look at what type of behavior you had before you got the tick or the Lyme or the pneumonia, whatever. And then you say, okay, time for a change. It's time for a change. So let me go to, I saw a hand raised in Blog Talk. If you have a question or comment, you want to share your story, so we can just make sure we're preventing Billy Carson and Elizabeth Carson's story, a teaching story for all us students now. We can prevent what happened to him, going to a hospital, being on oxygen. You have serious pneumonia, bacteria, virus imbalance. You have been ignoring your body. Your body's been, probably was whispering to him, your fever's at 100 now. Maybe you should rest. No, I got to keep going. Your fever's at 102 now. Maybe you should rest. And his wife, in the meantime, is pouring prednisone and every herb, every vitamin, every supplement, but no probiotics, which was kind of strange to me. That's my first go-to is probiotics, pickles, yogurt. Let's get this body back in balance and get my microbiome, my own happy. So let's go to the phone here. I have a hand up. 321-368. That looks like Mikhail. Your mic is open.
Yes, great show. A lot of important information that's put out, and I just want to commend you for a great show. But anyway, as I listen to Billy Carson's, him and his wife, I had a near-death experience with pneumonia, just like him. As I was listening to him, and then as I listened to Dr. Berg and the other doctor, and which things that you were saying about the microbiome and all that stuff, I had been studying the body health principles and all those kind of things for years. But there was a lot of stuff that I had been studying that I didn't really learn. And so consequently, I became under that unhealthful situation, low vibration and all that stuff. And the unmindfulness that the doctor was talking about, and the wrong diet and lack of exercise and all of that. I was a cab driver, and I had and just before that, becoming a cab driver, I had went through a divorce, and so there you have the emotional aspect, and I didn't know any of which I didn't have an idea about what you were talking about back then, because I was so concerned with the job, driving that cab. If you didn't make enough money to cover your capital that you had to put in to lease that cab for that day, then you were like you had lost money. You had a loss, and so you had the stress of trying to make a certain amount of money to cover yourself and then try to make some profit. I had that. Plus, I was new into the cab driving thing, so they gave me the worst cab. My cab was leaking carbon monoxide. Some kind of the exhaust system wasn't good. It was messed up, and so I was constantly breathing a slight bit of carbon monoxide on top of that, like you said, the poison in the environment and all of that. But just like Billy, I wouldn't stop because I was like, I had to try to make my a certain amount of money during the day, and so I was pushing myself. And then, like the other doctor was saying, I wasn't eating right, fast foods on the go, because you had to lease that cab for a minimum of 12 hours. And so you didn't get much sleep. And I remember too, like what Dr. Burke was saying, I started losing over a period of time. I started losing my butt and everything. And my muscle mass, I noticed, was going down because I was, quite muscular and everything. At first I didn't notice it, but then over a period of time I did. But anyway, I had what I was diagnosed with, walking pneumonia, because I wouldn't stop. I just kept working. And I came up with, I was having the chills, the fever, all that stuff, the breathing, where I couldn't breathe. And really what happened one night when I had come home, it was a good thing that I was living, I had a room with my cousin, and she owned a flat, and I was renting a room from her. And it was a good thing that I had done that, because I had come home late one night from driving that cab early in the morning, and I was in my room getting ready to go to bed, and I couldn't breathe. I was just gasping for breath, and I was fighting to breathe, and all that congestion and stuff in my lungs, like the doctor explained and everything, was really was like choking me to death. And I ended up falling. I passed out. I fell on the floor out of it. And if she wasn't there, I would have died, because she heard me hit the floor. She was asleep, but she heard me hit the floor. And then she went ahead and called, like for the emergency wagon, and they took me to the hospital. And just to cut it short, the nurse, when I was on the table, the nurse said, if you hadn't gotten here in like a half an hour or something, you would have died. And so they treated me and so forth. And it was because, just like you said, I didn't know anything about the microbiome and how valuable that was to treating this condition. And I didn't know about the emotional relationship and none of that stuff. And so consequently, there I was, almost dead, but I recovered for a period of time, and I had to get the rest, just like what you were saying earlier too. I had to stop. My body was telling me, stop and get your rest. Don't you gonna leave here? And so I'm gonna shut up there.
Thank you. Mikhail, that's a great metaphor for us driving a cab. Are you driving a cab?
Yeah,
Are you driving a cab with people in the back who got to go somewhere, even though you're tired of driving that cab? But you got passengers. Billy had passengers. He had a whole group of people who paid money to go to Turkey, and they had to go on this tour, and he told them he'd be there, even though his body was saying, I don't think you ought to go to Turkey. Nope, I got to be there. So here you are driving that cab, this metaphysical cab, this spiritual cab. Fly to Turkey in the cab, the people behind you pushing you. I got to go, but you got to keep driving, right? No, you're going to end up in the hospital. So people like Mikhail and Billy had to have that experience so they can share that with others. Thank you so much, Mikhail, for sharing that. And I think that's the key, is sharing these experiences with our friends and loved ones so they can prevent. And even if they don't want to hear it, they might have to have that experience too. So it's okay if you survive it or not. Zelda had a friend who didn't survive it, but I bet Zelda is wiser today because of that friend who transitioned on and left her to think about what happened, why she had to leave, what was her lifestyle. All that is good. And I'm going to share this experience. Then I want to play the serenity prayer, because all of us struggle sometimes with how to make those changes in our life. And the serenity prayer is where it starts with mindfulness. My grandson had an assignment to read a story about the Titans and the Greeks and building a horse. Some of you may remember that historical or story that they tell us about the Titans had to build a horse. They had to put men in it to go somewhere. So my grandson, 8 years old, had to read the story and then give 4 main events that happened in the story. And one of the events my grandson wrote down, he actually quoted it. It said, "We decided to build a horse." Okay. And he said he believed that was an event that he needed. There was a main event that should have been in his answer. And my son and his girlfriend, that's not an event. What are you talking about? And my grandson was in tears at this point because he had worked so hard reading it, wrote the 4 answer events that took place in this story. And one of them, he said, is we decided to build a horse. That was an event he put down. And I looked at it because grandma was reviewing his homework first. And I said, that's kind of an event. I said, that's a thought. And I think thoughts are events. But my son, the college educated, and his girlfriend, the college educated, said, no, that's not an event. What are you talking about? So we had that debate, and grandma just left it alone because I'm saying, you all don't understand the critical thinking that this 8-year-old is going through to see a thought as an event. How many of you out there believe your thoughts are events? Because if you look up the definition of events, it fits perfectly in an event. The thought. And I believe that's the mindfulness that Dr. Tracy was talking about in overcoming pneumonia or adrenal fatigue. It starts with mindfulness, the thought. That's an event. And my grandson, God, 8-year-old, and his dad and his girlfriend, college educated, working for corporate America. Grandma and 8-year-old, I think that's an event. Let's just let that fly. And dad's like, his teacher won't accept that. So I can laugh about it at the moment. But back when we were having this discussion in the kitchen with my grandson breaks down in tears. I'm like, you all stressing him out unnecessarily. He's 8 years old in 3rd grade, and you're telling him that his answer of a thought came to these Greeks and Titans and whatever, and you're telling him that wasn't an event. So that is the moment for deep breathing, because you have conflicts like that. And we're going to play the serenity prayer before we leave to just send us into the routine of having this type of serenity prayer where you want peace. What's involved in the serenity prayer? But first, we got another hand up in the studio. Mama AZ, your mic is open. Welcome, my sister. How are you today?
I'm so grateful, Dr. V, to be on this side of the dirt, and greetings to Dr. Lateef and her family, and I'm so grateful for you. And I want to give a shout out to Billy Carson and his choice of his spouse. You didn't hear that in there, but he had a lot of haters.
I did hear that, yeah.
He had a lot of haters, and one of my husbands who's on the other side, his boss was married to a very well-educated Caucasian woman, and he was very, very melanated. And because of his blood type, they were trying to get him off the planet. He was like Billy Carson, maybe even more melanated. And he had a special rare blood type. And if his wife hadn't bust down the doors like Billy Carson's wife said, no, I'm not leaving him. He wouldn't be here. And that, I believe that instinctively, that's what Billy Carson was feeling. And during his time, his journey with his wife now, he had a lot of haters, even people that I knew that combated with him and Elizabeth because of his choice. That woman is very educated. She may be of another persuasion, but she's very educated. And the universe knew that those two should be together to help him complete his journey in this lifetime. So I give a shout out to him, Dr. V, for being insightful enough to choose who he chose to assist him in carrying on. No, I don't think it was fear. It may have been on some level, but then there were other things that a lot of us don't know about Billy Carson that played a role in that. You see, he's not your ordinary person.
Oh yeah,
on this planet. You see, so that's what I had to say. I give a shout out to you, Billy Carson. I congratulate you for choosing Elizabeth. And for some of those who still have issues with that, go somewhere.
Yeah, ignorance. Yeah, at the end of Mom AZ, thank you for sharing that with me. And I watched the whole thing. At the end of that video, which is over an hour, and you can go watch it on YouTube. YouTube is a university. Go watch some YouTubes and stop watching violent entertainment. He expressed what you just expressed, how people doubted his choice for Elizabeth, who is Asian. She's not Caucasian. She's from an Asian culture, and his choice for her as a wife. And of course, history shows us she was exactly the person he needed in this journey that he's on. So yeah, the haters are ignorant people who are still looking at skin color and nationality and judging why you are in that person's in your life, blah, blah. That is just pure ignorance. I was sitting on a plane coming here the other day with a guy, and I had a guy sitting next to me. And I just decided to, start a conversation. And oh my goodness, it went left so quickly. He was a native Chicagoan from the West Side. And he kept talking about Negroes this, Negroes that. And then I said, oh, and he said something. And I said, well, how do you like your mayor, Johnson? And I said, oh, you must be a Kamala fan. Oh boy, did I open up a can of worms when I said that. Well, yeah, I don't understand why people are hating on her. She's telling the truth, and that other guy just lies. And my eyes went wide open. I'm like, what did he just say? He's trying to say she's not a liar. He's a liar. So the division was there, and they don't know why they hating on her, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I had to really control my words in this conversation. I tried to educate him on looking at this person differently, that person. And he had an experience as a police officer where he was assigned to a certain area in Chicago, and the Caucasian police officer did not want to work with him. Now, granted, this man who was on the plane with me was very dark skinned. He kept saying Negro. He even brought up lynching in our discussion on the plane, which told me
90 seconds.
This man has a lot of anger. When you, in your conversation about politics, you start talking about lynching, how bad lynching was, and how people hating Blair, this, that, and the other. And I started really feeling more energy of not only ignorance, but prejudice and all that, but just anger of what had been, and victim. So I got one more caller. We're going to go over
60 seconds.
Even though they're timing me. We got a little overtime we can go into. Let me open up another. Thank you, Mama AZ, for that insight. Because, yeah, that whole interview with Billy and his wife, or that transparent display, he brought out the ignorance of people in his life, which again, you're a man of integrity. You got to do this for people who might be ignorant, who might be criticizing, but either way, you're just determined to be the cab driver in this situation, even though your tires are flat and you're running out of gas. How about that, Mikhail? He's driving the cab, his tires are flat, running out of gas, but he got to drive these people to Turkey. 312-882, your mic is open.
10 seconds.
We on Yash Long, who are we don't die, we multiply. Black is beautiful as you are, a superstar. Dr. B, Minister Plump, Robert Floyd Plump from Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Maybe I'll see you later today.
Oh, you in Chicago?
Yes. Where have you been, Minister Plump? I showed everybody a sunrise over Lake Michigan. I'm in Hyde Park neighborhood. Are you just tuning in or what?
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds fantastic. I hope to do, if it be a blessing in the will of the Lord, I will see you. However, I was concerned because I heard through the grapevine about our beloved producer of the Female Solution. Her mother departed.
Yes, that's why I'm here. Yeah. That's why I'm here, Minister Plump. We're going to celebrate 101 years of Naima Latif's mom saying adios to you earthlings. And I want to pull up her name. I don't have her name in front of me. Maybe Zelda can put it on there. Zelda's got my back today. But yeah, her mother, 101 years old, honey. That's a celebration. We ain't grieving today. And I know Naima is in a place of not grieving, but just celebrating all that time on this planet. That's a time to be totally weary. And you just it's time to go out of here.
Well, I just wanted to send out my condolences and also to ask a question, very important. Is that going to be a service today or some other day?
Yes, Minister Plump. Let me say, I'm here today for the celebration, which is today. And I'm if Zelda or can put that information in the chat, that would be helpful. But in the meantime, I'm trying to find it. I got so many people who have texted me. Yeah, it's today at her church, and I'm sure. Okay, here we go. That was her name. Is Leatha May Charles, today at the Arnett Chapel AME Church, 11218 South Bishop. Wake is at 10, funerals at 11, burials at 1. And I don't know if there's restrictions on how many people there, whatever. Anyway, I imagine it's okay for you to show your respects at her celebrating the life of Leatha May Charles. This is Naima Latif's mom, our executive producer. That's why I risked my life flying here from Florida. Not really, but I enjoyed the flight, and I have been so blessed. I had a free Uber driver from Orlando, from my house to Orlando Airport. I had another Uber driver friend pick me up at Midway. I am just so grateful to be here. I want to just be with my female family today as we celebrate the homegoing, the life of a woman who made it to 101. Ooh, where is my applause? This is an applause day. But anyway, thank you. So maybe you can make it.
That's 112-18 South Bishop, and that's from 10 to 12. Huh?
Right. Okay. You got it. So let me end. Thank you, Minister Plump. I hope to see you there and give you a hug. I want to end with the serenity prayer, because it's difficult for many of us to make the change that we need to have peace. And Billy did not have peace on that journey. That was the problem. If you don't have shalom is not just peace, it's balance, it's love, it's wisdom. Shalom is a word that means more than just peace. If you don't have that, your body is going to respond with bacteria in the lungs, in the heart, in wherever. It's going to choose from your lack of mindfulness. It's going to choose where to send bacteria to help you wake the fuck up. Excuse my language. But he was not awakened. He was more determined to drive a cab with flat tires and no gas in it. Okay. Thank you, Mikhail, for that analogy. That's perfect. Perfect. Driving a cab with people in the back who were saying, you got to go to Turkey. You got to go. You got to go. And your back tires are flat. We're going to go anyway. I'm going to press on this gas anyway. And I'm running out of gas. I'm on empty, but I'm going to drive this cab. Let's just listen to the serenity prayer as we end the show. And I got to get ready so I can join my sisters today and give hugs and celebrate 101 years. This music we're playing, this prayer is for educational purposes only, but it's a dedication to a woman, Miss Charles. 101 years. We give thanks and praise to the Most High as she leaves us behind to pray this prayer in our life every day. Every day. Let's just listen and close your eyes and go into mindfulness.
God grant me the serenity to accept.
Yes.
Things I cannot change. Courage to change all I can. And
Most important, the wisdom.
Yes, the wisdom to know
the difference.
God grant
me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change all I can, and the wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference. Serenity, courage, 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 wisdom to know the difference. Serenity, So we want to leave you with those words, your prayer to have peace by asking the universe, asking the creator, asking the birds, the bees, nature, to have the courage to know the difference between the things we cannot change and the things we can change, which is wisdom, 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 wisdom. So I hope everyone has a beautiful day. It's been raining here in Chicago. I'm no problem. I'm not going to be at all bothered by rain or anything, weather, but I'm going to enjoy the moment, the present time with my sisters today, and celebration of life. Zelda has put in Leatha May. I hope that Leatha May, that's an unusual name, May Charles. We're celebrating 101 years. And that woman did not drive a cab with no flat tires and no gas. That woman was steadfast, raising a family the best she could, and being the wife she could be, And then in her later years, just being the wisdom. So she's a great example of that prayer. She understood what it meant to have the serenity and then the courage to know the difference so that her family could thrive and grow and build their own family. So we're grateful today for Miss Charles. And may all of us live to be 101 with all that wisdom, okay? So thank you all for being here with me this morning. I fly out of here tomorrow back to Orlando. But for the minute, I've had a great. I met a man the other day on 53rd and in Hyde Park who was asking for money. And he was a dark-skinned man with a gray beard. And I said, well, okay. I said, I don't have any cash. He said, well, I have Cash App. So I went to my Cash App. I said, what's your name? Sherman was his name. I'm like, what? That's my dad's name. So what is the chances of me meeting a man asking for money on the street whose name is Sherman, the same as my dad? So that was one of those synchronistic moments where, oh, here. And then I found some money in my prayer. Here, paying it forward. So that's kind of been like what my journey's been here. Memories, and just the presence of the Most High Creator, Spirit, everything. And today is a day for family and love. Monday, Zelda's going to continue. Okay. She's going to continue the conversation on Monday. Thank you, Zelda, for your purpose-filled presentation and life. My sister from another mother. So we're going to end now with if there's no more. Yeah, we'll run out of time because I only scheduled this for 90 minutes, really. And we have gone over the 90 minutes thanks to your participation and your presence. Grateful to be here and grateful to move on to my next assignment, which is celebration of life. And we'll see you Sunday night. I'll be back Sunday night. In the meantime, enjoy your life and breathe deeply in love.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, zhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jaref. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.
And to all my friends, my yogi friends out there, namaste, satnam, and aloha, aloha in Hawaii, lahaina, stand strong. We got this. Even North Carolina, stand strong. We got this. Prayers for all of those who are experiencing the most amazing challenges in this life right now, floods and land grabs and all that stuff. So love you. Mwah. Have a great day and breathe. Just keep breathing deeply. Love